Hi, friends. Welcome to Enlightened World Network. Dr. Ruth Anderson here for a meditation a day. Today, it's my honor to bring you Julia Greef, coming to us from Japan. She's going to be providing a meditation with frequencies of love, light, and peace, with messages for humanity at this time. We love Julia so much here at EWN, and I can't wait for you all to meet her. Julia, thank you for being here.
Thank you. It is always a joy and a blessing to be with you and your community.
Thanks. Okay, Julia, you can start when you're ready.
Okay, so we're just going to go into meditation and ground in these frequencies, the higher dimensional frequencies of love and light and joy, and then see what messages the masters want to bring through for us. So inviting you to close your eyes. And just allowing yourself to connect through your breath. And we are being invited to place our hands on our heart. And to just breathe in white light energy directly through our hands and into the heart space. Feeling that energy fill our heart space on the in-breath. And then as we breathe out, anything that is not of that white light energy is just flowing out with the exhale. And now they are asking that we take in a deep breath of light together now. And then pause the breath at the top, just holding this light in our heart space, in the heart center. And then exhale. So taking 3 more breaths like that together, breathing in, holding, and breathing out. Breathing in, holding, and breathing out. Breathing in, holding, and breathing out. Then letting your breath return to a natural rhythm. We are receiving activations actually first from the galactics, with the Syrians and the Arcturians being a main presence. And they are both activating our higher hearts and joining our hearts and our brains, so that our brain, our mind may become more deeply rooted in the empathy, the acceptance, the understanding, the love of the heart. And then Kuan Yin stepping forward as an example of a master who has achieved this compassion through the mind and the heart being joined as one in her lifetime, and very much supporting us in grounding this energy on a very cellular and physical level. So that it becomes integrated into the very fabric of who we are. And her message for us today is actually to ask us, what self-loving action can you do for yourself today? So as she continues to flow in her codes of compassion, to bring healing for wounding in the back of our heart space particular, she asks us just to be present with this question. What is one loving action that you can do for yourself today? And she is placing a beautiful white lotus flower in each of our chakras. And they are being rooted there in the chakra, so that that energy will remain with us. And Kuan Yin now working together with Yeshua, with Saint Germain and his sacred violet flame, with cosmic divine mother energy, with Babaji of the Indian Ascended Masters, and with Serapis Bey, the Chohan of the fourth ray, then the white ray of purity. And all of these beings together are working to bring our chakras into a more multidimensional expression, where we are more tangibly connected to not just ourself as the human self, but as that greater soul essence that we are, so that we may know this as we walk in the world. It may be a very tangible, a much more present feeling for us. Many have started to touch upon this at times in meditation practice, but they are saying that this will enable it to come in a much more expansive way, so that this energy can also surround you, us, when we are simply being in the everyday nature and everyday actions and routines of our life. It is time for humans, and this is their message for us at this time, to know ourselves as that expression of the divine coming forth as humans, and to know our connection to our greater selves that is beyond the human, as well as to our galactic sisters, brothers, families, to start to have a much more profound conception of what and who we are, of what the world is about, and how we can create in the world in ways that spring forth from our divine nature and are aligned with creating a better world for the whole. Which I know is what the beautiful ladies here at EWN, and also the beautiful community here of listeners, are all about in your hearts. And they are asking us just now to rest in these energies of love, of compassion, of the feeling of the divine grace that is being poured onto us as we receive these activations today from the divine beings. of a feeling of possibility for what can transpire for humanity from now, and a sense of openness to us being and embodying more of that divine self. And just resting in this place of peace, of possibility, and allowing our light and our love through these frequencies that we are holding to start to create that world of greater peace in the hearts of humans, and then in the relations between humans as a result, and of a world of possibility where each can fulfill their unique and soul-driven potential. Us simply resting in the frequency and the possibility of this starts to create it in the ethers. And then it becomes available as a creative potential for those living on earth at this time, for all living on earth at this time, they are saying. Then Source is blessing us with a golden shower of light from above that just moves through our energy field, cleansing every part. Then expressing thanks and gratitude to each of the beings, star beings, the master beings that have stepped forward to support us today. And also gratitude to each of you for choosing to be here, for choosing to be in the presence of this energy, for choosing to be here on the EWN network, and for also choosing to be here on the planet at this time. And the energies will continue to integrate, they are saying, anything to a week, from a week to 2 weeks, depending on how fast various individuals integrate the energies. Reminding you just to be kind to yourself, and if you would like to continue to ask yourself every day, what is, a self-loving act that I can do for myself today? And to believe in the possibility of the light creations that we are bringing forth, and how these bless the world and the better world that is possible for everyone as a result. So thank you for allowing me to bring this through for you today. And then in your own time, feel free to open your eyes, maybe move around in your physical vessel a bit, feel more comfortable, and then come back to the room that you are in. But we know that we bring this energy back with us, and that it remains with us throughout the day as we walk forward in the world. Thank you.
Julia, thank you. That was interesting. I've actually got a couple of questions. One, you mentioned cosmic divine mother energy. Is that different than when we're just experiencing divine mother energy? Is it the same or is it different?
I'm just going to tune into what they're saying. It is the same. For me, it felt like it was such an expansive energy, and I wasn't actually sure what to call it at first. It's like it's a huge feminine energy, but it didn't come in announcing itself with a name. It's more like, so she stepped in with Babaji, and it's like it's not just Babaji, it's also like a huge feminine energy. But the kind of names like Sophia, they didn't feel quite right to express it. And then like Cosmic Divine Mother landed in, and I was like, oh, yes, that it just felt right that's the energy that it is. That was the name that was being presented for me, as I kind of waited to see what it was almost. It's not like it announced itself with a name.
I'm just curious because I actually drew a picture of it earlier in the meditation.
Wow.
I I experienced Divine Mother, and right next to that, like another version of Divine Mother. And I was actually calling it like Galactic Divine Mother. So I had Divine Mother, Galactic Divine Mother. I had Ashtar, I had Archangel Michael, and a Galactic Archangel Michael.
Oh, that is so cool. So how to you is the Galactic Divine Mother and Divine Mother, or Galactic Archangel Michael and Archangel Michael? How is that energy different? Is it like, for me, it just felt like it's so much like more expansive and bigger. Is that the sense that you get, or is there a different sense there?
I don't even know. When I see them in that different form, so with like Archangel Michael, I see him sort of as energy. I don't get to see the very defined humanistic things that some people see, but I see his energy and I know it's him. But when I get the cosmic or the galactic, I'll say Archangel Michael, it's the same look, but it's just a little pixelated. It just has a different energy to it. And then
Mm.
Divine Mother's the same. So I can tell if it's the typical Divine Mother that I work with, or if it's the galactic one, just because it's got a little bit of a pixelated energy to it. Does that make any sense at all?
It sounds like it's like a higher frequency, and that's why it's coming through like as a pixelated image.
I know.
Like the sense that I have been given, and I am sure there are various opinions on this, but that within the higher beings too, there are like different frequencies of energies, like both between the different beings, but it's also like the individual beings can also themselves upgrade to like a higher frequency, or I guess a higher dimensional version of themselves. So it would seem that it's a much more like, yeah, cosmic is the word that comes through for me as well, though. Like cosmic and galactic, perhaps they're kind of the same thing as well, because they're speaking about being of beyond this and bigger than this. It's like a much like the energy that infuses everything is kind of is coming through that being. So it's like a higher, mm, or not even just higher, but also deeper energy that is coming through when we sense these beings as galactic or cosmic rather than just the more typical just Divine Mother or Archangel Michael. It's kind of what they're telling me, and then the feeling that they're giving me for it. It's very complete energy.
Yeah.
Does that tie in with how it feels to you?
I think so, because if I were to put myself into the mind of a galactic being, if this conversation makes any sense at all, I would imagine that they would look at Divine Mother as I see her and think, oh, well, that's the human version. And I can't connect to that human version. But perhaps this, lack of a better term, more pixelated version, maybe they go, that I can connect to.
Mm.
I don't know. It's just fascinating to think about. Yeah.
It is, and it's incredible that you were just drawing those, earlier in the meditation, and then that should be what actually kind of stepped through. So,
Yeah. Interesting. And then you also said, and maybe I just heard it on my own, but I think you said something about us as all being part of the galactic community and seeing myself as a member of the galactic community was very different than seeing myself as a member of the human race. It was just an interesting observation point, I guess.
how is that? How did you experience it as different?
It definitely feels more expansive. And I have worked with the Galactic Federation before and with the Council of Light, so I'm not new to that. But with those, I go in and I step out, right? I don't necessarily see myself as a member of that community, although I will pop in and pop out. So to actually think of myself as a member of that community was like, oh, okay. So now I'm a member of several communities.
Right. I know you do a lot of work with the Galactic Federation and Council and so forth. I know you've also spoken to me about how they kind of take you into their meeting place.
Mhm.
Um, just what you said now, I can see. So there you felt more as an observer, whereas now you're feeling more like a part, an accepted part, which I think is I think what I'm told is that as humanity, that is what we are stepping forward into, is being we're at last able, I was about to say equal footing, which is what is coming in, but we're still like we're such children compared to many in the galactic community. But as a collective, we have brought ourselves up to a level of embodying enough love that we are able to kind of like step into that community, is the way that it has been put to me. Actually, I think that came through in a recent message as well, but it's also how they're explaining it now. But actually, what I didn't get when I was doing the meditation, but when you just mentioned that you felt different when you conceive of yourself as part of a galactic community rather than a human community, what it kind of brought up for me is that as humans, we think that we have all these differences between us, but they're such minute things which are nothing. Like, if we're going into part of the galactic family where there are many different beings that, visibly will look very different from us and in energy perhaps be very different from us. Hopefully, as part of that, we can start to realize as humans, what a a common humanity we have, and find that we develop a greater love for each other that sees beyond all our differences as a result. I was kind of thinking that, or the image that floated in, is that like we will be able to conceive ourselves as more of a human family, and not in the sense that we're the human family and then the galactic family is out there. It's like we're a human family and we're also part of this wider galactic family, and it's all encompassed in love. That was the image that I was receiving there.
Yeah. So, Julia, if you've got a minute, I'll just share a story. Um, one of the times that I went into meditation, and I'm pretty sure it was Michael because he has taught me so many messages over the years, but he took me out into the dark, dark outer atmosphere. And then he took me to this place, and I walked into this room, and I was seeing all of these little like fuzz balls of energy. And I was looking at them, and I said, "So what's this?" And he said, "It's the land between lifetimes. And these are souls that have not come into the 3D." And I was looking at them, and some of them were different, and some of them were um, whiter, and some of them were grayer, and some of them had like metal, like a little metal thing. And I said, "Okay, so what am I looking at here?" And some of them I was told were all human, and some of them were human angelic, and some of them were human otherworldly, and some of them were human angelic and otherworldly. And I could tell by looking at them what they were. And I thought it was fascinating. And when I asked, "Okay, so what am I?" And I was told human, angelic, otherworldly. And so sitting there tonight and seeing this community and thinking, I am part of this community, and I'm also part of, the angelic community, and I'm also part of the human community. It was, I think, affirming of, oh, right, there's that other aspect. And my guess is that folks that are purely just the human souls would go, "This is the craziest thing I've ever heard." But folks that actually have kind of that DNA of otherworldly and human would go, "Oh, yeah, I get this."
Yeah, I really think that's really tremendously beautiful. And it's like, why have we all come together at this time? So there's, well, I guess they were showing you the space outside of incarnation, but I feel like at this minute there are so many of us that are like human plus angelic, or human plus angelic plus, did you call it otherworldly, or galactic was the word that came in for me there, actually. Um, and it is, I feel like it's to lift like the whole of humanity up at this time so that everyone can know themselves as all of it, as the human, but also with the angelic frequencies and the galactic, so that even if there are those among the human world who didn't come in with their those frequencies perhaps activated in this lifetime, it's like the time for them to be activated for all. It is kind of the sense I have around that. But did you get any sense of that in your conversation with Archangel Michael, or in conversations since then based on that vision? Or
I believe these ones had not been in a human body before.
okay.
Yeah, that this was the first time coming in.
Mm.
They wouldn't have all of that history of different art incarnations.
And so then each we're coming in to learn, to perhaps to live together and to bring together the unique, whatever the frequencies that each of them bring that help to uplift humanity as a whole. Is kind of when I kind of tap into it, that's the message that comes, that whatever we're coming in as, whatever combination of those we're coming in as, we are each here to be a portal for more of that light to flow through us, and then that allows the frequency of the whole to uplift.
Well, and I wonder if one were to look back 100 years and be at that same place with these souls that had not ever come into a body, would it be the same ratio? Or are there more nowadays that have that galactic connection, or more nowadays that have that angelic connection? Or has it always been that kind of mix? I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's a fascinating concept.
I don't know either, but when I tap into it, I do get like the word "there are more" um, now, and thank goodness for that. We are very grateful for every being that is bringing through light and grounding in light, and really helping to be part of what Enlightened World Network is all about, which is grounding more light and love into the planet. And isn't it wonderful to know that more and more of the beings that coming in are kind of coming in with a very, as one of their purposes and roles here, as a very specific purpose and role, so that we really can continue to uplift the frequency and the vibration of Earth.
Well, and haven't you heard that more and more babies are being born, children are coming in with so much more wisdom on a spiritual level?
Right. And I really see it in interactions with children as well. They say the most, pertinent things sometimes, I think, is to do with the parents as well, because the parents are a lot more open perhaps than the previous generation. So the way that they are with their children really allows that to flow through in the children. So perhaps then I think children have always come in like being still very much in that liminal space where they're very much connected to source. And but I do think the wisdom that comes through will speak to different people at different times, and this will seem like such a simple sentence to perhaps to many listeners, but even a very simple sentence can contain deep wisdom for you if that's what you need in the moment. And I teach English here in Japan, and one of my students just said the other day in a class in a very different context, she wasn't really speaking necessarily specifically to me or to my situation, but she's like, oh, everything's okay. It was kind of like, who cares? Whatever it works out like, it's all okay. And I thought, wow, the deep wisdom in that, if we can really kind of understand that as humans, and we don't need to be attached to things being a certain way, and if we can just be in the acceptance that everything is okay. And I really feel like often when children say things and it really touches on a very deep truth, and like you said, and I do think when I listen to things on YouTube, and children or teenagers, they're creating amazing inventions, and to support the world going forward. I think there's all different ways that this is perhaps coming through, but even just a very simple and grounded truth that a child says, it can be so connected to a more universal perspective of things than our human ego that wants to control everything and everything to be in the way that it thinks it needs to be for it to be okay. She was like, the message she kind of had for me is you can just release all that and just be in the knowing that everything is okay just as it is, which is a deeply profound message, actually, but felt like it was being given to me through the words of a child.
I love that.
Mm.
Right. Julia, what would you like folks to know about you?
Um, well, I'm always happy to connect with you. First, here on Enlightened World Network, I think I'm here, about 5 or 6 times this year as well. So I look forward to connecting with you here again. If you enjoyed today's meditation and you would like to experience more, I do have a YouTube channel, which I believe is Julia Greef Transmissions of Light. And I also have a website, which is transmissions of light.com, if you would like to explore going deeper in circles or private sessions or something like that. The YouTube channel is free content for those who would like that. So
Thank you.
forward to seeing you in any of or all of those places.
Okay. Thank you, Julia, so much for being here today. It's always a pleasure. And friends here at Enlightened World Network, thank you for being open to expanding your beliefs. And for some of you, it's not even expanding, but just going, yep, I knew this all along. So we're so glad to have you here with us. So take good care. God bless. We'll see you all soon. Bye now.